Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Have you heard of any other commander-in-chief of the armed forces of any other country but the ones from the NATO countries and, European weasels showing up in Ukraine for a visit? That is the highest ranking officer, I would say, or official in the military of that particular country, just visiting Ukraine front lines. Have you heard, let's say, of the commander-in-chief of, let's say, Bangladesh visiting Ukraine, armed forces, in the front line? How about Zimbabwe, Honduras, Vietnam, anything but NATO? Have you heard them visiting the Ukrainian front line? And then why? Why not? Is it because, why? Is it because NATO is fighting Russia in Ukraine? Not Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, Vietnam, Honduras. No. So you gotta understand, when these guys are telling you the commander-in-chief of the, let's say, Czech armed forces visits the front line of in Ukraine, what does that mean? I will take it from now on, from today, as being the guys in charge, looking to see what's going on over there with their troops. They're directly involved. I will not take it as visit. What is the reason for a country not involved in a war send its main guy, military guy, to the front line to inspect what exactly? If you're not involved, what exactly? The same, the Brits was over there, the Americans were over there, all these guys were at the front line in Ukraine. These are generals, military. Why are they going over there if they're not involved? They are involved. That's my latest. That's the way I'm going to take it from now on. I'm not going to say, well, this guy visits. No, he's not visiting. Because otherwise it would be the guy from Bangladesh visiting, the guy from Honduras, the guy from, as I said, or Kenya, or, I don't know, Zimbabwe visiting. But they're not. Why? Simply they don't care? You tell me it's about Europe? No, it's about Ukraine. Weren't we told that Ukraine is the problem because the Russians want to take over Ukraine? Are we involved? God damn, we are. So let's read this little article where we see a country that wants to get into NATO and will get into NATO de facto. Not de jure, not de jure, but de facto. That is, they will make all kind of euphemistic terms and alliances. It will be, you're not in NATO, but we're going to create another parallel term that you are. We're going to activate Article 5, but we're going to call it Tzapa Kappa. So it's going to be not Article 5, if when NATO countries attack, we all come and destroy that country. No, we're going to call it Tzapa Kappa. And Tzapa Kappa is going to be for countries not in NATO, which is the same thing. So let me show you this garbage article. Ukrainska Pravda, December 10th, 2023. Commander-in-Chief of Sweden's armed forces visit Ukrainian brigade on front line. What? Why? Why? Why is the commander-in-chief of Sweden's armed forces visit Ukrainian brigade on the front line? Why? Is that a Ukrainian brigade? Is that a Swedish brigade? And still, I don't even have to go that far. Why are you there? Why are you even there? Another question. Has this commander-in-chief of Sweden's armed forces visited Yemen? There was a war in Yemen. And if not, why not? Is because it's not in Sweden's proximity? Is that what it is? My friends, you know exactly what it is. It's these guys against Russia. Now, let me show you. General Mikael Biden, right? Commander-in-Chief of the Swedish Armed Forces visited units of the 45th Separate Artillery Brigade carrying out military objectives on the Eastern Front in Ukraine. And this guy is posted by during the meeting. Look at this. This guy is fighting. Jesus Christ. My God. All right, let's go. During the meeting, General Biden spoke with artillerymen and infantrymen trained in Sweden. Okay, and has no Swedish guys over there, and praised their combat work. How can he praise their combat work if he shouldn't know anything about it? He should not know anything about their work over there unless he's involved. And you're not a NATO country member state. He asked if the training that Ukrainian soldiers received in Sweden was useful. No, because most of them probably are dead. So you can't ask the dead. I mean, you can ask, but you're not going to get an answer. Ukrainian soldiers replied that they started applying the obtained skills on their first day on the battlefield. Now, without being without having the intention to insult Sweden or anybody else, what the fuck experience does Sweden have with a war? More than Ukraine. Ukraine was fighting a war for 2 years. In the field, in the landing ground, and will never surrender. In the cities, so in the cities. So the Ukrainians in 2 years of active fighting have more experience than all these weasels that come to train them. The Brits, the Brits. What was your experience? In what? In the desert and in some cities in 20 years ago in, how do you call it, Iraq and Afghanistan? Is that your experience? That you apply over there. This is a different thing. Did you have drones then? Did you fight with drones? It's a different kind of war. You know nothing about the direct, not nothing, I'm exaggerating, but you don't know anything more than these guys know. And if you say that we know certain things that, and do you think the Ukrainians are dumbasses? They lived in a cave all this time? They didn't study the war? They didn't pay attention? And then you got this guy who trained the what do you have more than the Ukrainians, Sweden, in training? Zero. Actually, the Ukrainians must train you. The same, again, I'm going to go to this one. How about Canada? What is your extensive knowledge of war that you train these guys? I have another article where the Canadians are training this. And what exactly did you do? What exactly did you do? And remember, these guys were actively fighting the enemy, the direct enemy. These guys are virtually training the Ukrainians to fight. I think the guys from Ukraine should be taken all over and say, if you want to fight the Russians, we are the experts right here. No, Czech Republic trains Ukrainians. France trains Ukrainians. Well, they have extensive experience. They do. They do. I'm not saying they don't, but these guys, hey, did our training do you well? Are you better now? I heard, NATO tactics. Like what? Bombardment of countries? When was the last time NATO invaded, like this, or defended? Second World War, and it was not even NATO then. Vietnam, what was it? Because Afghanistan and these guys, you just bombarded, boom, 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 and then just came, let's do something. Was fighting like this? You remember that happening in this? No, it was from house to house. Those guys were already bombarded, flattened. And then they came in with infantry and cleaned up operation. And then boom, a mine here, boom, an explosive there. That's how it was. It was nothing like this. So these guys are the most experienced. And the Russians. But he comes and tells us. And besides, let's look at these guys. This guy. So this guy is the great commander right here. Right here. I'm not going to play it because it's too embarrassing, I think. But, I know I'm just, how do you call it? Making an assessment, without actually knowing how much this guy knows. I'm pretty sure he knows a lot, but I'm just making fun of his face. Like, people can make fun of my face. That's the beauty of free speech. Ukrainian soldiers thanked General Mikhail Biden and his country for the steady support of the Ukrainian people in the struggle for independence. Now, this is propaganda right here. No, how about this? You should not thank them. All right, you should not thank them for whatever they did. Why? Because what they did is had you involved in a war. That's what they had you involved in a war. So you're not fighting for independence, you're fighting for them. And they make you think that you fight for independence. Again, my question is, what is this guy doing over there? I want to see the Bangladeshis. Oh, they didn't train them? Why were they supposed to train? All right, my friends. Here it is, just a little, a few questions here about this. The Swedish guys are showing up over there. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.